Back with the wrap up for warm-ups 12 and 13. This video will deal with questions 3, 4, and 5, all of which come from chapter 13. This is the financial statements analysis chapter where we will take a look at the ratios that help us to assess how the company is doing, as well as looking at the vertical and horizontal analysis, which again, this was pretty similar to the last chapter of Principles of Accounting 1, so it should be very familiar to you once you get into the actual exercises here. I do want to highlight, though, that for 3, 4, and 5, these last 3 questions, they are in Excel simulation form, so you are not looking to actually put a number in the cells as we get to them, but all of your answers need to be entered as a formula. If you put in the number, then it will be marked wrong. It has to be entered as a formula in the cells, and this is what I want to walk through. So because they're going to be very, very similar to what you're going to have on your homework, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will go through enough of them for you to get the gist of what's going on here. So click on the OK. For this first question, we are looking at assessing liquidity, looking at the ratios that are related to asset management as well as debt management. So for the first set here, we are looking at the balance sheet for this year and last year for the Zimmer Company, and then we're also looking at the income statement for this year. As you continue down, you will notice that there are some cells highlighted in yellow. Those are the cells where you need to input the formula for the answer. This first cell, let's go here first because I know we'll need this number to calculate another number that we have down below, so I don't want to forget this one. But this is related to the number of shares outstanding. When you have stock that does not have a par value attached to it, one way to know what the number of shares that you have outstanding is to take the amount of common stock and divide that by the par value of the common stock that you have here per share. And so in this case, we're going to say equal, go get the common stock amount and divide that by the par value. And you will get an indicator here that it is correct. Now, I did notice something. They're telling you that this is the par value of the common stock per share, and I mentioned that they didn't have a par value. Typically, when you have a par value, you will have a common stock account as well as an additional paid-in capital account. So this stock must have actually issued at the par value. Otherwise, you would see a separate account that says additional paid-in capital. So we have that answer, and we will move on to the, see if I can get this situated here. Just looking at the ratios we have here. What I did was posted a copy of the form from your Principles 1 textbook that is basically just a cheat sheet for all of the ratios that we dealt with in that textbook, and you might want to reference those as you drop in these formulas here. But when we're looking at gross profit margin, I want really for all of these, you also want to pay attention to whether or not they're asking you to round, because that requires a little bit of a twist on your formula. For this one, it doesn't ask for that. We are looking for the gross margin percentage. So what we want to do is say equal, go up to the gross margin on our income statement and divide that by sales, which is the formula for gross margin. This gives us 40%, and as you saw, the correct indicator was up there. Now, want to go over a couple of these that I'm going to do it the next couple just because they have that rounded feature there, so I want to make sure you understand how to drop in that round formula. And in addition, there are a couple more below that I want to go through because I don't think we covered those in Accounting 201. But current ratio, they want this rounded to 2 decimal places. So what we want to do is type in the word round, one parent as they call it. Current ratio is equal to current assets divided by current liabilities. So we want to go up top and get the total current assets. What happened here? It took away my round. Oh, equals round. And I will warn you that you only get 3 attempts. On that third attempt, it will drop in the correct answer and you will not receive credit for it. Okay, so when you type in equal round, it actually gives you the format for what you should be doing next. You want to round a number and then a number, and then you're going to say digits. Digit represents how many decimal places you want there. So in this case, they're looking for 2 decimal places. So a comma 2 should be your last number. So what do we want to round? We want to go up and get the formula first. I want to round the current assets divided by the total current liabilities, comma, and then I want that to be 2, round it to 2 decimal places. So this is what it should look like here. Equal round, and then a parent. B12 represents the total current assets divided by B22, which is the total current liabilities, comma, I want you to round this to 2 decimal places and then the other parent. And that is correct, 1.44. The asset test ratio, similar ratio, but you're going to go up and take your total current assets minus the inventory and other current assets there. Typically with the asset test ratio, which is also called the quick ratio, you're just looking at cash and marketable securities and accounts receivable. So those 3 items, you can either add those 3 items together in the formula, or you can take the total current assets minus the 2 that don't belong. But I'll leave that one up to you. I do want to go to... Where did we go here? I don't think we talked about the book value per share in Accounting 201, so I wanted to highlight that for you. We want to, because we need it rounded, we want to go equals round parent, and then we need to take a look at, let's see here, go back up top. I want to go grab the total stockholders' equity, and I'm going to divide that by, this is the book value per share, so I need the number of shares outstanding, and I want that rounded to 2 decimal places. Okay, so again, the book value per share. This is the total amount of equity that the stockholders have in the company divided by the number of shares outstanding. And that gives us $39.74 as the book value per share. EPS, we're used to take our total earnings and divide it by the number of shares. What else do we have here? We have the dividend payout ratio that you probably have not seen before. So that one's also rounded. This one's rounded to 3 decimal places. So you want equals round. And then we need the formula for the dividend payout ratio, which is, we want to go grab the dividends per share that are paid in the current year. And we want to divide that by, oh, I did need to drop in the earnings per share. It's going to give me an incorrect because this number is not here yet. So I'm going to have to drop that in. Okay, so I have to go to the earnings per share first. I want to go equals round. And my earnings per share is, where is my net income divided by number of shares outstanding, comma, how many spots? 2. Let me make sure I got that in there right. Okay, $4.36 per share. So now I can do the dividend payout ratio. But this is our lesson in making sure we do all of them first, to make sure that if you're going to calculate any particular ratio and you need one of the numbers that have to also be calculated, you have to do that first before you can do the one that needs that prior formula. It won't just save it and wait until you drop a number in there. Okay, dividend payout ratio again equals round parent, and we're looking at, come on, be still. The dividends per share divided by, oh, come on. This is really sensitive. Earnings per share, comma, and this one is 3 places. This gives us 22.9%. The dividend yield ratio, why don't we do that one, and then I'll leave the others to you for this one, because the formulas, once you drop them in, they're good for the problems that you actually have as well. Our dividend yield formula, we are looking at, let me go here. I want my dividends per share, and I am going to divide that by the market price of the shares at the end of the year. I need this and round it to 3 decimal places. Let's bring the formula back up here first so you can see what we did. And this gives us 2.4%. How don't we move on to, because again, the rest of these formulas you will have on the sheet there, and they're also in your textbook in chapter 13. But we're going to move on to question 4. That's all you're doing there. Question 4 is similar, so we're only going to look at a couple of these. They give you the same reminder here that all answers have to be entered as a formula, and then you click OK to actually begin the problem. Notice that this is highlighting for you how the answers should be represented as well. So whenever you're dealing with the current ratio, it's whatever this number is to 1. So for all my current assets compared to my current liabilities, let's say this is 2 to 1, that would mean that I have twice as many current assets as I do current liabilities. So for this one, rounded to 1 decimal place, we have equal round. We go and grab our total current assets divided by total current liabilities, comma, 1, and then the other parent. I think that was 1 decimal place, yes. And that's 4.5 to 1. So again, these are all formulas that you should find on the cheat sheet that I've posted on with the section for 12 and 13. But you should also find all of these formulas in your chapter 13 as well. Let's move on to number 5. Okay, same reminder here, all answers entered as formulas since it's an Excel simulation. This one is a excuse me, vertical analysis. If you recall from Accounting 201, vertical analysis, we call it that because we are constantly going up and down. This one is really quite simple. What we're doing here, if I can get this to go down a little bit, where the income statement is concerned, we use net sales as our base. So very, very simply, every single answer on this sheet is going to be whatever the number is divided by B9, which is where our net sales are. So if we started here, and there is no rounding involved in this one, so I simply want equals B9 divided by B9. The only catch is this. The simplest way to do this is, and I don't even know if they're going to mark this right or wrong, so I'm going to try it here before I tell you what I want you to do. They're saying it's incorrect because they want you to do something else here. And what that is to take the B9 and divide it by B9, but you want to hold the B9 in the denominator constant. so that you can drag this formula down and not have to copy it all over again. So what you're going to do is wrap this B in dollar signs. There's an easy way to do it. I'm on a MacBook, so if you're on a Mac platform, you're going to hit Command T. Oh, shoot. It doesn't like that in this. Okay. Let me just do it this way. It works on Safari, and I happen to switch over to Google Chrome, so it's doing something weird for me. Dollar sign here. Well, let's try this one more time. Equals B9 divided by dollar sign B, dollar sign 9. And you want to multiply that times 100 to get it into percent form. And that is 100%. Now that I have this written out this way, and I will shoot a little email to remind you of the format that the function key that allows you to do that. Typically, it's a Command T on a MacBook. If you're using a PC-based laptop or computer, then it is typically F4, the function 4 key. If you just hold that down, that will typically hold it down while you have your cursor on the B9, the second B9 there, and hit the F4 button. It typically will automatically convert that to the dollar sign wrap there. Okay, but if you have your cursor on a cell that already has that formula in it, then what you can do is just drag this down. And we got one more to go here. I didn't drag it enough. Okay, and that's it. We want to do the same thing with the equipment. I want to go equal D9 in this case, divided by dollar sign D, dollar sign 9, because I want it to go back to this as the reference point for the as the reference point for the equipment. And oh, I didn't multiply it times 100. Divided by dollar sign D, dollar sign 9 times 100 gives me 100 there. 100%. The net sales in a vertical analysis for the income statement should always be 100%. If you were doing vertical analysis on the balance sheet, then what you're going to use as the base that you're dividing everything by is total assets. So now that we have this number, I can drag it down. And this is probably the simplest homework problem you've had all semester. That is the end of question 5. And that's actually the end of your warm-ups. If you have any questions, obviously, send me an email.